All right, guys, we're back again with another great episode of PFREI. I'm your host, Fuquan Bilal. Oh man, today we got a great guest, my ace boom coon.
Oh gosh.
Miss Yvonne Harper from Jersey Home Sales. So we're gonna get into a very great conversation today. I'm glad to have you on the show.
Glad to be.
Yeah, this is going to be awesome. So Yvonne and I know each other. We've been knowing each other for a while. We've traveled in the same circles. We actually have a business together, which is Jersey Home Sales, and we help homeowners in the state of New Jersey, where we're from, transition into a better situation. Maybe they may have some hardship or something with the property they have. Maybe it's tax lien or whatever it is. So we try to help them transition to better. But we'll talk about all that. First, I want to know. Let's tell the guests and the people who don't know about you, just give them a brief overview of your background and how you got involved with real estate when you got started.
Okay. How did I get involved in real estate? My brother and I, thank you, by the way, for having me on your podcast. I love what you're doing out there, sir.
Absolutely.
Even if I didn't know you, I'd still be like, hey, that guy's kind of cool. My brother and I started fixing and flipping houses years and years ago. Before the big crash. And we kept bringing in deals to one of the brokers. And he was like, did you ever think about being a realtor? And I was like, no. He was like, well, since you're doing this, why don't you become a realtor? I was like, okay, well, think about it. Next thing you know, I was doing real estate. Then my very own first, all by myself, I guess, actually with my partner, Carolyn Gerhardt, we did a fix or flip right before the crash. So yeah, we were like knee deep, and then everything just went poof. But to this day, we survived it. Our friendship is intact, even with the crash. But I was like kind of done with real estate. I was like, I'm going back to the corporate world. I can't with this.
Yeah. But, so what gives you your why are you passionate for real estate investing? That's the question I always ask the guests. Like, why are you passionate for real estate?
Well, just so you know, at that time, we had 17 listings. So I think like a good realtor has about 12, maybe one a month, a deal a month. So 12 in a year. So we literally had 17 listings and nothing was moving. And that was like painful, like first month, second month, third month, fourth month. So that's why I was like, listen, I got to pay bills. So that's why I headed back to the corporate side of the world. But my passion, where that comes from is, I think, to me, real estate is one of the only ways to solidify like a real legacy for your family or a base for your family. And what I mean by that is like, years ago, back in the day, people would go across the country and they would stake their claim, they would stake their land. And it meant something to own your own stuff, not to be, somebody else's thing, but your thing. So ownership gives people like its own lift. And then you can leverage that, like if that's paid off, you can take a loan from it, you can borrow against it, so it's like the base. If we could start there with everyone, and branch from there, it's like the starting point. It's a launch off point. And like, it's always like the American dream to have your own home. But if you have your own home and then you have your own business, and you have your own, it's like how you can build your wealth. I think like that's the understanding that line right there can help you launch everything else that you're going to do from there.
Got it. So you talked about the crash. A lot of us that's been in real estate for a long time, we all went through that. And we kind of met up after the crash, and you still was involved with real estate some sort of way when I met you. But let's fast forward to now that you're knee deep back in the business, trying to help homeowners again, and back into the real estate world. So what do you see yourself as far as someone who has went through that challenge when the market crashed, and you said you switched back into corporate? Why did you go back into real estate? What was the eye opener that says, you know what, I need to transition back because I was here before, I went to corporate and I went back into real estate? What was the wake up call?
I think for me, no matter how hard I work in this business, it's something that I'm building and something that you can build upon. So that's why right now, like, I think COVID kind of gave me a slap, like, okay, sometimes you can keep fighting what your goal or where you're supposed to be. But if that's where you're supposed to be, kind of like life pushes you right back there. It's like it'll tell you whether you want to do it or not. Like, this is your lane, whether you choose this lane or not. Like, this is your lane. So there was this guy named Fufan Bilal, right? He came to me and he said, "Here's what I'm doing over here, and here's how I'm doing it." And he wrote like these things on a chart. He was like, "I think we could do this." He's a great visionary, by the way. And I said, "You know what? That's a good idea. Let's do it." um, and I'm so happy that he did. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy that I'm literally sitting in a seat that I feel like this is where I'm supposed to be right now. And these are the things I'm supposed to be doing. We just talked to a gentleman the other day, and he was like, he actually said his house was doing well, but he was kind of tired. and I understand that feeling. And sometimes people get very overwhelmed when they're in the middle of a home and all the things that go with it. And they don't know that there's ways out. And I think that we have become very good at finding solutions for people. Well, like people say, outside the box, we're outside of the box. So we do go that extra mile to figure out how we can make this happen for those people. So being able to be, like I said, in that seat, it's amazing. And I wake up like, let's go. Okay.
That's awesome. Let's transition. We're going to talk about women in real estate. I just came back from a mastermind in St. Louis, and I met someone who actually runs a group called RIN. I think it's Women in Real Estate, something like that. And she has a bunch of chapters, and she's like the head person. She's pretty much behind the scene, but she has a person who runs each chapter. And she was sharing with me the challenges and the struggles that women go through in real estate. And that was the first time that I actually sat down and thought about it. I was like, wow, really? It's almost like, women rights and women equal to men and stuff like that. And I was like, I never looked at it like that. I always looked at everybody, if I can do it, you can do it. Come on, let's do it. I mean, I don't expect them to be in there with the hammer and the drill, but let's talk about that a little bit. How empowering is that?
Oh my God. The first house that I ever purchased, they actually asked me, was my husband going to be coming? And I was like, excuse me, I'm single. They were like, oh, is your husband going to? So like, no. So those little, jabs that make you be like, really? Like, even in this day and age, I mean, that was a while ago, but still, like, for someone to ask you that question, even like, or there has to be, a Mr. to the Mrs. It's like, I'm not a Mrs. I'm single, like it's hard for people to wrap around. Even I know some folks, one of my friends, a good friend, had told me one time her father left the family business to her husband, who was his son-in-law.
Wow.
Not to his daughter. I mean, he left it to both of them, but everything, all the paperwork that was, like the signing line was his son-in-law, not his daughter. And I was like, really?
Wow.
Really? It's like that ingrained that women can't possibly be able to figure this stuff out, or they can't manage the finances, or they can't understand, how to manage these things. So yeah, it's still out there. It's still there.
Wow. So how empowering is that? Because I know you have other groups where you guys talk about financial literacy and stuff like that, where you guys meet up and empower each other on that. How empowering is that for women to actually be in real estate and own and be a part of this and be, toe to toe with these guy investors that's out here flipping houses? When she spoke to me about it, I was like, I never really looked at it like that. Now I actually, my eyes are open to it and like, wow, I can see, how that is. But from me, I always treat everybody equal. I always try to do certain things. So I never saw it that way, or I never saw, I guess the groups that I'm in, everybody treats everybody equally, but outside of it, I guess there's other people that don't see it like that. What's your take on that? Are you, I know that you had that group, but is your mission also to bring other people along and show them what you know and uplift them as well?
Thank you for mentioning my group. It's LIFE is what we call it, Ladies in Financial Empowerment. And
I'll be paying attention.
So the point of that group is because, just like you said, I had said to one of my friends, I was like, actually it's Arilys, I love when we talk about hair and nails and all that stuff. It's very important. But I wish, especially amongst ourselves, we would start talking about things that can help. Credit score, what's the stock market doing? What are you guys trading in? Are you investing in anything? Like, can we have like an hour a week where we talk about finances and things like that? Because a lot of us in the group, some people are in it, some people are near it, some people know a little bit about something. And then there's a lot of little niches where you can fix, like you can fix your credit, you can get a better interest rate, you can get a better this or that. So those are things that I just felt we should be talking about. So since I started with, let me have that other plug, Jersey Wholesale, jerseywholesale.com. I really haven't had a lot of time to do. We were just talking about this the other day. It's May and we haven't had anything since December. So we're going to try like for June into the end of the year to definitely crank that back up to do it like once a month. But my main focus right this minute definitely is, as you know, building a team for Jersey Wholesale and thanking you for being on the podcast, getting it exposure and just ramping up what we're doing on this side of the house.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so does that group, this is the last question I have in that group, does that group have a Facebook page? I did I see something on Facebook? You want to plug the Facebook?
Yep, Ladies and Financial Empowerment.
Ladies and Financial Empowerment Life. I like that. Did you trademark that? I think I'm gonna have to trademark that. Did you get the website yet? I'm gonna have to get the website and sell it back to you. That's awesome. You guys should go check that out and become part of the group. I like when I see women together doing stuff and that whole empowerment movement. That was a wake-up call with me when she mentioned that to me. She's like, you don't know? And I was like, oh, she was feeling good about it. Like, yeah, we got to do this and do that. I was like, okay, calm down. It's all right. Like, I'm not the one. I'm on your side. So
well, the thing is, like we just brought in Marisol, and she could tell you a lot of things about, just going to conferences and things like that, and being the only woman in the room. It's still very prevalent. Like, when you walk in the room, people go, "Oh, are you here to serve?" Like.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, I do notice it's more male dominated, in these real estate events, and even a lot of the masterminds we attend is more male dominated, but there's a level of respect for women when they come in. I mean, I only work with women because I know they produce. I mean, people walk in my office and be like, wow, you got an office full of women. Yeah, because they produce. They're not, they get stuff done. I can't curse on the podcast, but they get stuff done. I can't curse on the podcast. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, so let's transition a little bit. Jersey Home Sales, you guys go to jerseyhomesale.com. This is a company Yvonne and I put together. And again, the whole purpose is for us to have outreach in the communities where we come from. We're both from North New Jersey, and we market to the surrounding areas, and we try to help people transition, if they are in the place of need. So Yvonne mentioned a couple of things earlier that was very important. Being a solution specialist, we get the back seat to really seeing the challenges these people have and really try to help them transition. So talk about that a little bit, from the beginning, like, did you have any trepidations going? And you said it was like when I did on the board, oh, I'm in, but there still was probably some fears or some stuff. Let's talk about how did you overcome those fears and just say, I'm going to do this, because there's a lot of people who are still on the fence, who might want to do real estate, who's in corporate, who might have those fears, who's stuck, on a paycheck. Not willing to take that risk and take a leap of faith to get maybe percentage of ownership of something versus having a steady paycheck. So I know I said a mouthful, but let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm going to use one of yours, and you always say, "What's your why?" And seriously, I think that COVID helped open my eyes to what's my why? Why am I here? Like, what's my purpose? And I mean, when I talk about this, I kind of get like, okay, let's do this, and there's not a lot of things in life that make me like go, okay, let's do this. Like, knowing that we have, we have the capacity, A, to help these people, and B, that we can do it and that we do it and we do it right. We want to build the relationships that we have, and we want to go forward with them. Like, even for the real estate world. People from way back when will call me, be like, hey, Yvonne, like, I need blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm not doing real estate anymore, but that's a good thing. They're like, okay, so what do you know? Like, that's the kind of relationship that we need to kind of try to build in our communities. Like everybody, I understand everybody's, you're in your own box, and I get it. You got things for your family, your friends, and all those things that you're doing, but we can make our communities a lot greater and a lot better. If it's just picking something off the floor, picking up that piece of paper, something as simple as that. It's just pride in your community. So let's do the same thing for housing. I love when people take interest, like even, along the train line, Newark, Elizabeth, Linden, Rollway, Metro Park, all those areas. It's like a lot of the towns finally said, hey, we're in prime real estate areas. If only we could see it, and understand what we have. So people don't understand that there's programs and there's things that they can do to uplift themselves. And you kind of created a position for me to actually do that. So it's like, hello. That's like the best of the best. That's number one. Two, if you're on the fence, I'm going to get corny for a minute, but Steve Harvey says sometimes you have to leap, and I know that we don't have to self-acquire that, but sometimes you just have to leap. And I am one of the people, as you know, my PI says I'm a strategist. So I need to know what's going to happen. I need to know the ABC3. I need the whole alphabet. I need to know what's going to happen. And sometimes in life, it just doesn't come out that way. Okay. Sometimes you just have to kind of leap. And all I know is that for the corporate side of me, I felt like I would do things and I just felt like a little cog, like, okay, like it's just grinding out, but it didn't really make a difference. And I would hope that everything that I'm doing every day here makes a difference. So that's, to me, there's no better high than that. So at the end of the day, if I've helped a homeowner, or even with the, positions that we're creating, things like that, we're building people up. It's an awesome feeling.
Yeah, that's awesome when you can create something and then bring others along for the ride as well. Let's shift a little bit and talk about your experience when joining Masterminds. I know that you've been a part of several groups and you had the opportunity to experience some of the masterminds that I'm a part of. Let's talk about how that have influenced you or inspired you, in what you're doing.
I've always been a person to think, I guess, to think a little bigger. I think I'm better when I'm uncomfortable. And for me, uncomfortable means you don't know what the next area is, or what the next big thing is, or what's going to happen. So being in the masterminds, I feel like the people that join them have that same mindset. Like, okay, I'm here, but I want to be here. Or I'm here, but I want to be here. And it doesn't always have to be a money thing. It could be, a family thing. It could be a personality thing. It could be education thing. There's always more to learn, more to do, more to experience. And the masterminds that you have open, up for me, it's just those people take that times 1,000. And it also helps, I think, when you're around like-minded people, because then you stop feeling like you're the crazy one. Okay, there are other people who think like I do or feel this way too. Some people say, well, you have this, so kind of be comfortable. And I'm actually more comfortable, or it's not so much the comfort, but I'm in my zone when I'm uncomfortable.
Yep. You have to learn how to be uncomfortable. I was going to say something, but you just said it. You said it the perfect way.
Yeah. So that is what fuels me. That is what makes me go okay, let's trudge it out. Let's figure it out. Let's go deeper. So yeah, I think that the masterminds I'm reading, the books, I'm an Audible fan, you know that, but PET is one I'm reading right now. I'm reading a couple at the same time, but PET is actually Parent Educational Training. I hope I said that correctly. And it was one of the ones suggested by one of our members. And it's actually parent training, okay? But they said for your staff, you also have to go along that same route, kind of. And you have to, it's not even like a you win, lose kind of thing. It's about coming to a win-win every time. It's about active listening. We always say, oh, I listen. But no, do you really?
Yeah.
Really? So it's about listening to what the other person's saying. And it's great for sales too, because when someone says something, then you kind of stop putting it in a box. You go, okay, listen, understand, and then respond. So it is helping me with, working with other humans, uh, and trying to understand, literally like get in their shoes. So when somebody comes in and asks me a question, I don't automatically go with, oh, why are they asking this, or what did that mean? It's like, okay, try to think it through. Why do you think they would ask you that? Maybe they just want to talk to you. Maybe they just want to socialize. Maybe, they're having a bad day. So it definitely gives me another perspective of how to deal with other humans, not just children. That's the book is about, being able to connect better with your children. But they were telling us that this book is great for dealing with your employees, dealing with your clients, and it's true. So I think I've read it now or listened to it 4 times. I'm on my 4th time around, and I'm like, every time I listen to it, I'm like, this is true. This is good, So you pick up stuff like that, and that's one of the things. So it's like, I'm not a parent. I'm the favorite aunt, by the way, but I'm not a parent. But people are like, okay, why are you reading a book about parenting? Again, open your mind. Try to learn new things. I'll call myself, yes, this old dog can learn new tricks. Like you can always learn something. You can always put, something else in your arsenal. You can always try to expand your mind a little bit. And that's definitely what those have done for us, for business, for me personally. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's amazing when you get around a group of people to help push you mentally, strategically, and want to become more, as you mentioned, not about money, just about growth, right? So if you're not growing, you're dying. That's really, the whole basis of it. So I actually just came back from a mastermind where now I'm trying to start to work on my personal vision, right? When it comes to business, I'm an assassin. I can do 25 ain't no breaks and go and make it happen. But as you look around, you start looking at, okay, on a personal level, how are you growing your net worth on a personal level? Not money wise, it's yourself wise. And when I started to look at that, I was like, okay, now I need to get away from real estate masterminds and start focusing on the people who are really focused on themselves and want to help themselves grow, maybe spend more time with their family, their loved ones, and stuff like that. And I think that's important, not to get a burnout, because sometimes we all fall into that and we just go, and we forget about us. So being those masterminds are very important. I just wanted to mention that. So definitely, I think that this venture with Jersey Home Sales is going to be very good. One, because we're helping people, for one, and when you help people, the reciprocity effect from that always, comes in abundance. Whether it may not be money, it might be something else indirectly, or somebody who you might meet that may change, the trajectory of your life or your business, what you're doing. So yeah, this is great. I thank you for coming on the podcast and sharing. I definitely wanted to bring you on and share with the world, what you're doing, what we're doing to help people, and let people know who you are. I mean, you need to get out there more and get on more podcasts. So
that's
that's what's going on. So I thank you for coming on the podcast. Any last words you want to share with anyone?
I thank you for letting me be a part of this. It's always a crazy ride with you, but it's a good one. It's always a good one. Oh my gosh. You gotta say that. No, and I admire you, sir. So I appreciate being a part of all of this.
They're feeling this mutual. I appreciate it. All right, guys, another great episode of PFREI. I'm your host, Fupon Bilal. Today we had Yvonne Harper, Jersey Home Sales. Make sure you guys go check it out. Make sure you guys go check out Life also. The Facebook group, the spammer, let's get it going. A bunch of requests, basically get that thing going back on a monthly basis. That's important, because as you're teaching, you're learning as you're teaching also, and you pay it forward. So I'm going to give an accountability check-in. The next meeting has to go down in June. We can't let another month go by. The ladies are waiting. Let's get that going. So you guys go there, check it out, send her a message. She's on social media, Yvonne Harper. You want to plug any where people can find you at if they want to reach out to you?
Yes, jerseyhomesale.com.
That's what's up. Yeah, go check it out. And guys, be sure to check out the podcast. We're on all the social media channels. I won't list them, there's a bunch of them, but I appreciate you guys for tuning in. If you watch this on Facebook, be sure to like and share this. And that's all we got for today. I appreciate you guys. PFREI, Fuquan Bilal, I'm out.
Bye-bye.